Welcome back to Health Matters. We're now in the second half of the show, and we've been talking about superfoods for super health. We've already discussed gluten-free living with Victoria, and then super-powered locally made granola with Stephanie. Next, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of superfoods with registered holistic nutritionist Joy McCarthy of Joy's Health. So welcome to the show, Joy.
Thank you for
having me. So glad to have you on. So Joy, can you tell us briefly what got you into this lovely field of nutrition?
Yes, well, I realized the healing power of foods with myself because back about 10, 15 years ago, I was not feeling so good and I had some serious health issues. My hair was starting to fall out. I had some hormonal issues and I realized the amazing healing power of foods, and I literally used food like medicine and healed myself. So that really inspired me to learn so much more about these amazing foods.
I think that's definitely a story many of us share in the health field, and it's also a story that many Canadians and people in Peel region share, because a lot of us don't feel our best, and we don't realize that we can change that just by changing our diet, really.
And I think also too that a lot of people just accept that health is just not getting sick, you know, it's not getting a cold or a flu, but what I really believe and what I really share with my clients is that good health is feeling fabulous every single day of the week, and you can feel that way when you eat things like these kind of superfoods. Yes. Yeah.
So definitely, I believe health is a state of vibrancy, not just the absence of disease. That's well put. Now, I got to see you speak downtown Toronto at an event about these superfoods, and I just loved it. And what I liked was that you and I have spoken about this. There are superfoods coming out all the time in health magazines or on TV or on the news, and it's usually some exotic berry or some far-off algae at a lake that, you know, only one person can get to. So it's foods that Canadians and people in Peel can't really access easily or get into their diets, or they're kind of weird or foreign to them. What I like about your approach, though, is that it's foods that are easy to get and easy to use.
And yeah, you can find a lot of these foods just at regular grocery stores. You know, you don't have to go hunting into, you know, some little store in Kensington Market looking for, I mean, so many things are at regular grocery stores now.
That's right, and that's what I want to talk about is the superpowers of these regular foods. And I think the first one we've got on the table here is kale.
Yes, kale.
So we're talking about
kale is the king of leafy greens.
That's right.
I love kale, and a lot of people, I remember my first introduction to kale was only a few years ago, and I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this thing? But as you know, it's a leafy green, and it's so good for your hair. I consider it like hair's natural moisturizer because of the vitamins like A, vitamin C, vitamin K.
That's right.
So rich in antioxidants, and it's, as you probably know, of all the vegetables, it's part of the cruciferous family, which is like anti-cancer. They are the most potent anti-cancer foods.
And there are several types of cancer this protects against, right?
Yes, absolutely. Prostate cancer, breast cancer, colon cancer, and also because of the indole 3-carbinol, which is a phytochemical, is amazing for estrogen-dominant type cancers because it helps to bind with the bad estrogens. When you eat this kind of food, the indole 3-carbinol binds with the bad estrogens and it helps to flush that out of the body, which is amazing. So that can help with things like PMS too, if you have, you know, excess bad estrogen.
And a lot of people don't realize that these conditions can be helped by food and something so simple as kale. So how can we be eating this kale? How can we be taking it in our everyday lives?
Yeah, well, what I suggest, if you're new to kale, then you might not want to start just, you know, eating it like this. What I suggest is putting it into a smoothie. You know, just take like one leaf and throw it into a smoothie, or mix it into some pasta. You don't even really have to cook it. If you want to just eat it plain like that, you can literally just saute it in some coconut oil, which is another superfood, or some organic butter with some lemon. Just squeeze some lemon, some sea salt, pepper, so simple. You know, it's like cooking broccoli. It takes, you know, 2 minutes to cook, and it's so delicious and so rich in fiber, so you feel fuller longer. And it is truly, I consider kale actually to be a beauty food.
I believe so too, that's right. And I think it's funny because I was afraid the first time to put kale into my smoothie, but it didn't even taste like anything.
No, you don't even notice it. No. And I think I suggest a lot of mums do that because they're always trying to, you know, get more live whole foods into their kids' diet. And I think that's such a good way to do it, is to throw it into a smoothie. You know, it might turn it a little green, but it doesn't, you absolutely don't even taste it.
No, just serve it out of a colored glass and they'll never know.
Yeah, exactly. You put a little straw. perfect.
So when talking about fiber, you've got another great superfood on here, which is chia seeds.
Yes.
So let's chat about the chia seeds.
I love chia seeds. So chia seeds are ancient. They have been around literally for thousands of years, and they're just really gaining popularity again. So they're actually from the mint family, but they are completely gluten-free. They're a source of protein, which is great for vegetarians and vegans because it's a complete source of protein. All the essential amino acids. And it's so easy to get into your diet because it's such a good source of fiber and omega-3 fat as well.
That's right.
So, and it's actually has more fiber than wheat bran.
Really?
And a lot of people, you know, eating the different brand cereals makes them really bloated.
And they don't realize it.
Exactly. And so chia, you can get, you know, chia has more fiber actually than wheat bran in the same amount. So if you, you know, take a quarter of a cup and compare in terms of fiber, chia has a lot more fiber.
More fiber, less bloating, essentially.
Yes, exactly. And it's so detoxifying too. I mean, all fibers are very detoxifying, but I really like chia. And unlike flax, you know, with flax you have to, it has to be ground to release the omega-3. With the chia, your stomach acids break it down, so you can eat the seed whole.
So fairly easy to digest, essentially.
Yes, for sure. And just like kale, it's very easy to hide in foods, especially with kids.
Right.
You know, you can put it in some yogurt, you can sprinkle it on your salad, put it into your smoothie. So many different ways to hide it, and kids won't even know.
That's right, and I find it actually adds a really nice creamy texture to certain foods, and with baking as well. It's a good egg replacer.
Yeah,
what's going on with that when you put it into liquids? It tends to get a little bit thicker. What's that all about?
So it becomes like very gelatinous because it absorbs so much water.
Really?
Yeah, so it's great actually if you want to make a pudding. For example, you know, if you wanted to take like avocado and some raw cacao and some chia seeds, some coconut oil, it would get like very, very gelatinous.
Make a delicious raw pudding.
Yes, exactly. But you have to be careful because I remember my first time I ever used chia, and I made my smoothie and I dumped a bunch of chia, and I didn't really know a lot about it. This was, you know, way back when, and it became, you know, very, very gelatinous, like a sludge, and yeah, I couldn't eat it at that point. So you don't want to put it into, you know, say yogurt and then leave it for a while. You want to put it in and then eat it.
I think I had that experience where I picked up my smoothie and turned it upside down, and it wouldn't even come out. So.
Yeah, it's a bit like psyllium, but it's great for vegans because they can use it, like you just said, as, you know, a replacement for eggs. Yeah, because it binds things together. And then I love this. I don't know if you know of this cereal, the Chia Goodness cereal, because a lot of people aren't sure how to get just the plain chia seeds into their diet. But the chia cereal has like buckwheat and hemp in it as well, so you can you add water to that and you can have that as a cereal.
Almost like a porridge?
Exactly. And they do a chocolate one as well where they put raw cacao in, it's really, it's delicious.
So talking about putting in too much, what would you say is a good serving size to start with?
Yeah, I would say about, you know, just like a spoonful, like 1 tablespoon just to start. You know, whenever you're adding a new fiber to your diet, you want to start slowly and see how your body reacts because it is very detoxifying. So I always suggest start slowly, and then, you know, you don't need to go up to more than sort of 2 tablespoons per day. But it, you know, it is a good source of protein too, so, and good fats as well. Yeah.
And what's the bonus with eating protein and fats in our diets?
Well, the other thing is it's going to slow the release of glucose into the bloodstream. So for people with diabetes or hypoglycemia or just, you know, concerned about their blood sugar, that's a great thing about eating something that's fiber rich, a protein and a fat, is it provides that slow release. And of course, protein and fat is so good for your brain health. And your skin health, you know, and your digestive health. We could go on and on about how amazing chia seeds are, but they are really a superfood.
Any difference between the white one that I see sometimes in health food stores versus the mixed kind, the black and the white?
Not really, actually. It's kind of like, you'll see the quinoa I have there. It's just different varieties, basically. But in terms of nutrition, there's no real difference. You will definitely notice there is a difference in price, though, of some brands. Yes, that's why I like this brand because I find that it's very reasonably priced. But I tend to stay away from, you know, I've seen bags of chia for, you know, $27, $28 at Whole Foods, and you really don't have to spend that much. You know, you can spend $7 or $8 and get a good quality chia.
That'll last quite a while.
Yes.
So we're talking about quinoa. Let's talk about this superfood next. Tell me about quinoa.
I love quinoa. I mean, I love all these foods, but I really love quinoa because quinoa it's an ancient grain-like food. A lot of people actually think that it's a grain, but it's not. It's just because it cooks like a grain.
Yeah.
But again, it's gluten-free. It's a complete source of vegetarian protein. It has good fat, so many minerals. But this you can use to, I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, but I certainly use quinoa instead of having chicken or having fish. Because you are getting the protein. It's very filling. It has so many minerals. I recommend quinoa for runners too because it's a source of iron.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's a source of magnesium. So a lot of people, you know, who get headaches or migraines can really benefit from quinoa. And it's one of those foods though. When I suggest my clients try quinoa, I always suggest that people try quinoa. And when they come back to me and they say, "Oh, Joy, I didn't like that quinoa stuff. You know, it had no flavor whatsoever." And then I ask them, "Well, how did you prepare it?" They just tell me they prepared it just with water. But it's one of those foods that takes on the flavor of whatever you cook it with.
Very true.
So, you know, if you're not a vegetarian, you could cook it in a good quality chicken stock. It's gonna, you know, have that chicken flavor. But I just add like lots of herbs to it. And I, you know, often a few times a week I'll do a nice big quinoa bowl. I'll put kale, put avocado, you know, put my herbs and spices, and it's delicious. I assume you eat quinoa too?
Yes,
you like quinoa?
It's very filling. I do enjoy it for that. And I like what you said too, that it isn't actually a grain. I think it's technically a seed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it is a seed. And it's, you know, gaining popularity now, and it's been around, you know, for what, 3,000 years.
Right.
And now people are starting to get back into eating it, and that makes me very happy.
Right, I think it was like the staple of the Mayans way back when.
Yes,
Now, is there any difference with this when it comes to color? Because I've seen red, I've seen black, I've seen white.
Yeah, again, it's kind of the same as the chia, just like different varieties. Personally, I like the lighter better because I find that it's fluffier and more dense. I find that the darker quinoas are a little bit more grainy.
Right.
But as you can see, I kind of mix them together just because I think it looks pretty when you cook it.
Better to display.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people who start to eat quinoa just always eat it savory, but it's actually great to eat as a breakfast food too. You know, chop up some apple, sprinkle some cinnamon, have it with some almond milk. So you can have it as a cereal instead of having, you know, the typical cereal that makes a lot of people bloated and cause digestive issues.
Great as a porridge. When we come back, more with Joy on the top 10 superfoods she recommends.
You're watching Rogers TV.
You never have too much garlic, unless it's first date.
We have a whole new checklist of guests, local events, and giveaways on Daytime.
Sort of hoping, and they call their names and...
Stay connected on Daytime.
Weekdays at 11 a.m. on Rogers TV.
You're watching Rogers TV.
The future of TV is here and anywhere with RogersOnDemand.com. Rogers customers can now watch tons of full-length hit TV shows or rent new release movies from the movie store right through your computer. Now available, great episodes of family-friendly shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, iCarly, Dora the Explorer, and more. Go to RogersOnDemand.com today and get ready to watch what you want from anywhere. Welcome to the future of TV.
Do you have a health question that you need answered? Well, the doctors are in every week to give you advice on any of your medical, health, and wellness questions you have on Health Matters.
I had a side effect from taking medication with what they've diagnosed as a pregnancy mass.
That paddling motion helps to start increase that finger-like movements inside the intestine that help to move gas.
Make an appointment every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and watch Health Matters on Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome back to Health Matters, where we're in the last segment of the show talking about superfoods for super health with registered holistic nutritionist Joy McCarthy. So Joy, it's great and all that we've got these superfoods, but I think one thing a lot of us are concerned about is cost. So if I'm going to start incorporating these foods, and again, none of them are particularly exotic, but is this going to increase my grocery bill, or are there solutions around that?
Yeah, I mean, that is a great question. And the thing is, like, shopping in bulk, shopping at farmers markets where you can get better deals. But something, for example, like the quinoa, you can get a brand that I really like because it's pre-washed of quinoa called Bob's Red Mill. Okay. Now that bag will cost you maybe $10, $11. But the thing is, that is going to give you probably almost 15 meals worth. So while it may seem expensive, it may cost more than white rice, which might be only $2.99, you're getting so many more meals, and you're getting something that's so rich in protein and good fat, and it's going to sustain you longer. And then things like chia seeds, you know, this bag is probably $7, but you're not going to eat, you know, the whole bag in 1 week. Right. You're going to use it moderately. You know, you're going to use 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. So, and the other thing is, these kinds of foods are, they're therapeutic foods, right? This is where we're truly using food as medicine. So, you know, we're not, like I said, we're not having the whole bag of chia. We're just adding little bits here and there. And I think, and I've heard it said before, that you're going to pay for it either now or later. Very good point. So, yeah, so put in the effort now to make good food and add these superfoods to your diet so you don't have to pay with your health later on. That's such a great point. And another thing, too, is if you invest a little bit now in food, you can also invest less in supplements, right? Because we're getting the minerals and the vitamins. Exactly. Yep. Right. 100%. Okay, so let's get on to talking about this lovely display. We've got turmeric up next, so let's talk about turmeric. And these lovely bottles, aren't they so nice? They are. I love the packaging. Simply Organic, they do really, really great herbs and spices. Turmeric, now I said that kale was the king of the leafy greens. I would say that turmeric is definitely king of the spice and herb world. It's so amazing as an anti-inflammatory. So for any, as you know, any itis condition, so things like arthritis. In fact, they have done so many studies on turmeric and the active ingredient being curcumin. It will blow your mind. It's really amazing when you compare. So for example, they've done studies on curcumin, comparing it to things like hydrocortisone and ibuprofen, and it is literally as effective. And this is a whole food that has no side effects whatsoever. Right. So, and as well, it's anti-cancer, so it reduces the risk of so many different kinds of cancers. It's very detoxifying, and it's great actually for people who crave salt as well, because it's high in potassium. And this particular one here, it's actually a shaker. So instead, what I suggest people do, instead of using salt, sprinkle this on, you know, your leafy green salad. And you don't, it's not strong. Like turmeric is only a component of curry powder, right? A lot of people think turmeric, it's going to taste like a curry if they don't like that taste, but it actually doesn't have a really strong taste. So it's easy to add to different foods just by, you know, sprinkling it on. And I've seen it in some interesting things like tea or even smoothies as well, just a little bit of it in there. Yeah, or warming up some almond milk. And adding, you know, a bit of turmeric is a great way to get it into your diet. And like I said, it doesn't really have a strong flavor. Right. You know, there are some great curry powders that you know, you can combine the turmeric, you combine the other curry powders to make it taste really strong, which I personally love. Yeah, me too. But this one's good because I don't find it overpowering. And what's the importance, briefly, on getting spices that are organic? That is very important because a lot of spices are irradiated, which lowers the antioxidants, lowers the nutrition of it. So it is like X-raying the spices, essentially. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So that's why I like this brand, because they are organic. And you know, it's interesting because when you compare a non-organic turmeric to an organic, you can tell in taste and color. Like, I mean, look how beautiful that color is, how bright it is. It's the same thing with the cinnamon. You know, you buy the non-organic cinnamon in the store and it's like a pale brown. Right. And that's how you know that it's, you know, it's been so processed. And these colors actually are the nutrients. It's the phytonutrients that give it that color. Yeah, exactly.
So that's turmeric. Another thing you touched on briefly before was coconut oil, and we've got two of those here to talk about.
Yep, coconut oil has received such a bad reputation.
Yes, and we're still having to fight for it.
So not deserving. Yeah, so true. I feel as a nutritionist, and I'm sure you do, I'm always, you know, fighting the battle for coconut oil. Yep. But coconut oil is so deserving of being a superfood because it's 50% of it is lauric acid.
And what's so special about
it? Yeah, so the only other source of lauric acid is breast milk. So it's a really good fat that our body loves to use as a source of energy. So it's a medium chain triglyceride, which is so great. Our body uses it as a source of energy. It stimulates our metabolic rate. It helps people lose weight. They've done so many different studies on coconut oil, not just with weight loss, but I was reading a study recently about heart attacks, and they found that people who suffered from a heart attack, when they were given coconut oil in their recovery, recovered so much faster.
Really?
Yeah, it is a superfood.
And that goes against what we used to believe, which was that saturated fats like coconut oil are bad for the heart. And so I'm glad you touched on that study, but also the important thing too that I think viewers should know is that this is a medium fat, and it's the long chain, right, that are more linked to the heart disease?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's a good fat, and it's so easy to incorporate it into your diet. It's also antiviral.
Right.
They've been doing some studies actually with AIDS and HIV patients and finding that it's really, really good for the immune system. So it has so many different purposes. And, you know, they're like in the Philippines, they have been using it for literally hundreds of years. And, you know, that's what a lot of these researchers are saying is, you know, they attribute their amazing, robust health to the fact that they eat a lot of coconut-based products.
And yet not a lot of heart disease there, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it's great, you know, it's, you know, not just for eating, but putting it on your skin.
That's right.
Using it as a moisturizer. You know, I put it in my hair. I, you know, get those flyaways when it's really humid outside and putting it at, you know, on the ends of your hair.
That's right.
It does a great job.
An all-around beauty product. And can we cook with this as well?
Yes, great point. That's, you know, the main purpose of it really is cooking with it, because it's a safe oil. You can bring it up to a high temperature, and the structure of the oil doesn't change at all. Whereas, as you know, a lot of the liquid oils aren't safe to bring to a high temperature because they have a low burn point. So I like sauteing it. For example, I'll saute some kale in the coconut oil, and it doesn't give it that like overpowering coconut taste.
No, it doesn't.
Or for, you know, for vegans, using it as a butter. Put it on toast. I like to put it, this brand here, so this is the raw cocoa butter, so that's just the oil. So this butter, I actually like to slather that on pancakes. So delicious, so good. And yeah, there's so many different uses for it.
That's excellent. The other one that I want to talk about, because it's right beside it here, is the raw unpasteurized honey. So tell us why that's a superfood, and does it have to be raw and unpasteurized?
Yeah, so honey is absolutely in the superfood category, and it's not only tasty, it's like bursting with nutrition, because honey is such a good source of enzymes, and we need to be eating our enzymes because so many people are eating the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet, and we're not eating whole life foods. So as you know, this puts a great load on our body to produce enzymes, but why not eat the enzymes that are going to help digest our food? So it's a source of amino acids. It's great for allergies, especially eating local honey. So if you eat honey local to the area that you live, this really helps to build your body's defenses against those flowers that you're allergic to.
Right, and I think that's interesting, trying to seek out the local honey for your own allergies.
Yes, absolutely. And then you asked about pasteurized versus unpasteurized. So I always suggest unpasteurized, because then honey is also a source of good bacteria. But when foods are pasteurized, they're heated up to very high temperatures, and it destroys everything that's beneficial in it. Right. So this particular one is also raw, as you can tell, because it's solid. So that's literally the first extraction, or the first harvest from the honeycomb is the rawest, most pure honey you can get. But it doesn't mean that when you see honey that's liquid and also unpasteurized, it's still good. It's just that this is the king of the honeys,
that's right?
The raw unpasteurized stuff, and it's so delicious.
Excellent. We are coming near the end of the show, and I don't want to finish without talking about chocolate, because this is something that many people love.
Yes, we love our chocolate.
But we have to talk about the differences between chocolate. And what I liked is you talked at the the talk when I saw you downtown about your experience in advertising. So are you able to share that with us?
What was the story? I
about
tell so many different...
talk about the health benefits of chocolate.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because, I mean, you know, you see so many different commercials always talking about how chocolate is so good for you, so high in antioxidants. It has chemicals that make you feel in love, make you feel blissful. But those kind of chocolate bars, like the Kit Kat, the O'Henrys of the world, that's not real chocolate.
No.
That doesn't have all those beneficial properties. So if you want to get the true benefits of chocolate, you know, when you hear that chocolate is so high in antioxidants and so good for you, this is the stuff you want to be having.
The raw cacao.
Yes, the raw cacao, exactly, because it hasn't been processed at all. Now this type of thing, so these are the nibs. They are going to be bitter. So this is when you want, so with the nibs, you would combine it, say, with some dates. You'd combine it with other things. But this is such a superfood because it is so high in antioxidants, and it also has chemicals like naturally occurring chemical compounds like PA, and a whole bunch of other ones that I can't even pronounce. And this literally makes you feel good.
That's
like
right.
This is what, you know, we always have heard for, you know, years, you know, decades, that chocolate makes you feel good and in love. Well, yes, it is true, but only when you're having it in this state, right? In this form. So there's also the powder, and the powder, you know, you can make a chocolate banana smoothie. So, you know, just adding like 1 teaspoon of powder to your smoothie, and it gives it that nice chocolate taste. Or baking with it too. That's another way that I love to do. Or making raw cookies with the nibs. So it's easy to incorporate into your diet, I think.
So many things that you can do with the superfoods. Well, that's about all the time we've got. If people want to check out more, can they see on your website all about superfoods?
Yeah, absolutely.
So log on to joyoushealth.ca to find more of these. Was there one last thing you can talk to us about very briefly?
Yes, ginger. This is my favorite anti-bloating food. So just shaving a bit of ginger into some hot water with lemon, so good if you're bloated, because it's an anti-inflammatory. Yes, love ginger. That's all I want to say.
That's excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Joy.
Thank you for having you.
It was fun. That's it for me for this season, so I hope you all have a very healthy summer. Bye for now.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line at 905-897-3994 or email us your comments.
I truly know what it's like to be lost in the music, and it's undescribable. There's always a time to dance. Everybody needs to dance. Most of the time, people are looking for confidence. It shows when you're walking down the street. You can see it because you move differently. So everyone needs to know how to dance. Have fun. You can do this now. Get up and dance. The people who don't have much rhythm. Oh God, those people they don't know what they're doing, and the body and it's going like different ways. They got like this eye twitch, and it's just like, damn. I train them to have the rhythm. I break it down for them step by step. I'm right there beside them, doing it with them. I'm glad to say I've always seen improvement, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to help people. I'm here for the people. I do my best. Dance is like a newborn baby that's never gonna grow old. That's what it is to me.
This This is Rogers TV, Mississauga.